This week we're going cover to cover on The Frozen River by Ariel Lawhon. I'm Sarah Lyles.
And I'm Jamie Livingston, and we are so approachable. We are back into historical fiction. Just a reminder, this is our cover to cover episode. All the spoilers. If you want to know more about the background, go listen to our last episode. That's our TLDR. That's just the taste. This is the deep dive.
All right, so I want to know, what did you think of this book? You have 3 words given to me.
I have clinical, informative, and warm.
Warm.
I know.
It's funny because my 3 words are cold, heavy, and wordy.
Okay. See, my warm, I felt like Mistress Ballard, Martha, was actually quite warm and cozy. Her home was cozy, like her family, her relationship with her husband was very warm. So, I don't know. I went with the opposite of the frozen tundra to go with warm.
Which is funny because I saw Mistress Ballard as warm only in her relationship with her husband and her kids. I saw her quite cold with so many people.
Yeah.
And so it was a hard one where I felt like she definitely wasn't my favorite character. Her husband was my favorite character.
Really? Okay. What did you not like about Martha?
There were things about her that I felt were so, like, rough. And maybe she needed to be because of the setting and because of where she was. Yes, she seemed like a great midwife. She seemed like she did a great job. She had how many different births without actually having any deaths.
Right.
But I felt like how she handled other people relationally, I felt that I was just kind of like off-put by it.
I really enjoyed her. I think it was the frankness. So you categorize that as cold. I call it clinical.
Yeah.
I feel like she knew how to get what she wanted out of people and what was needed for those situations. So I saw it as calculated, maybe.
It's funny because I really, after reading this, I mean, we'll get deeper into it, but I would say my opinion on the book is definitely unpopular.
I believe that.
I mean, in a lot of this, the theme of the story was so good. It was admirable, but it just was less than enjoyable for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you liked Ephraim.
I did.
What did we like about Ephraim?
I loved how he was just so, supportive and patient and kind. And so even it seemed back in that day, kind of the setting that was set before us, men were basically the head of everything. And he definitely made it clear that he was like, I'm here to support you. Even about kissing, I can kiss you when I want, but kind of letting it all be on her terms. And so it was just so genuine.
And gentlemanly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I really enjoyed him as well. They were more of a partnership.
Oh, yes.
Than a dictatorship. And I think that was beautiful. And just, he was the one who taught her how to read.
Yes.
And just really lifted her up. I mean, supported is a great word, but lifting her up and giving her more options in life. And she was able to pass that on to other people.
Right.
Teaching her own children how to read.
Right.
Teaching other people in the community how to read and giving them more options for their lives.
Sure. I mean, he helped educate her in a lot of ways, too.
Well, and he was a baddie. He trained as a falcon?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yes. I mean, he had his own tricks up his sleeve, but the way he handled her, it was just so gentlemanly, like you said.
Yeah. They had a lot of kids. What did you think about them and their storylines?
They all were different, and all of them had different storylines. It just kind of shows how you can grow up with the same parents, but your lives may never be the same. And so going through so much, it was very interesting. I did struggle some where I got Jonathan, Joseph, and Joshua confused at many times because there's a lot of characters in this book. And so Jonathan being her son, Joseph being a character all of his own, and Joshua being a character all of I sometimes was like, wait, which one is this?
Right. There are a lot of characters. So that's kind of one of the things that ticks down my rating. Again, it was like you had to know the whole town And it was like,
Yes.
oh, good golly, how am I going to keep all these people straight? The Rachel, Sarah, like, I had to, like, pause and, like, which person is this? Is this the church lady? Is this the pregnant lady? Is this the rape lady? Like, there was
Yes.
a lot of crunching the numbers and trying to figure out who they were.
Right. And in this book, too, you'll realize, like, there was a lot of, like, world building.
Yeah.
And so I felt like sometimes it was like, all right, the pacing was a little bit slow, but it was a lot of heavy information, which to me derailed the mystery, which is what I enjoy. And so it was like, okay, come on, get into it. But yeah.
So speaking of the world, what do you think of the 1700s?
That scene's cold. I mean, because then I also think, like, there's no, like, gas heat. You know, there's got to have, like, fires burning. And so really, I think about even the setting, because they said it was, the longest winter. It was long. They said the river was frozen from
November to April or something.
Long.
Yeah.
Really long. And so for me, I'm just like, how do people survive and not die in this cold, treacherous climate?
Right. I don't know. I mean, I think she did a really good job of showing us what every day was like. I mean, they were traveling by horse, they were by foot. But I also feel like I wasn't completely in that time period.
Yeah.
Like, some of the conveniences that we have, I wasn't getting from them the inconveniences.
True.
Maybe. I mean, she talked about not ever taking a warm bath in a big tub like she did when they were at a hotel and things like that. But I don't think I actually saw maybe just how I don't even have good words for this, just how bleak it would have been to live in the 1700s.
True. Right. And it's so male dominated.
Yeah.
And so it was just, I don't know, I'm very blessed. Again, if we lived in that time, we'd have no other choice.
Right. And I think that's why, because it's coming from her perspective. And so we didn't make a big deal out of some of those hardships.
Correct.
I mean, she talked about how she rode her horse the normal way and how most women in that time rode side saddle. And, like, there were some things, but the fact that they went and ate dinner at the tavern and instead of making a home-cooked meal, I was like, okay, well, that seems cool.
Yeah, and it seems easy and convenient, which I would envision 1700s nothing being easy or convenient.
Right. I mean, they had to walk across the river.
Yeah.
Okay. Just dangerous.
Very dangerous. All right, so any of the other characters, how did you feel about Rebecca Foster?
So Rebecca Foster, just to be clear, she's the pastor's wife, correct? Who claims she's been assaulted.
Right.
Ends up getting pregnant from the assault. I enjoyed that Martha was her friend and saw to her after the assault and had documented stuff. I didn't really care for her necessarily. I mean, she's not a main character by any means.
But she came forth with all her stuff and everything was acquitted. I mean, that was kind of like, well, why is he not, like, why is he getting away with it? Again, it kind of more set the stage of male can get rid, they can do anything they want and it'll just be thrown out.
Well, and that was their attorney's argument when Rebecca and her husband didn't show up in court. The attorney was like, of course, like, these crimes, you're saying that there needs to be a witness, but the woman who was assaulted is the witness, and you're not taking her word. These don't happen in broad daylight for a reason, so they're never going to get caught. They're never going to get punished, and that is so infuriating. And I think that his argument was very valid, and it was heartbreaking that then the jury still came back and was like, meh.
I know. Even though, like, how did you feel about the judge? Because that judge was not my favorite.
In, like, the Maine, like, the big Supreme Court trial?
Oh, no.
Or are you talking about Joseph?
Joseph.
Okay, yeah, Joseph was
the
a slime
ball.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, he was awful.
Yes.
Throughout the entire thing. I don't think I realized how big of a slime ball he was up front. I mean, you could tell that he definitely thought a lot of himself and knew that he could get away with stuff because he was the judge.
Right.
So there's that. But then I think she has the conversation with Mr. Coleman, the grocery store or whatever store that he owned.
Supermarket. I don't even know what. Yeah.
But talked about how he made all of his money off of the scalps of the bad guys. Mm-hmm. And it was like, oh, like he lost his soul during the war because the scalps were worth so much money. And I just, ugh.
I know.
That's gross.
It is gross.
So you hear that he's a bad guy, like, through and through. Not just, like, greedy for money, but also violent.
Right. And it seemed to me like I had a hard time trusting, like, Ephraim for a minute. I was like, okay, is he really just that good? Because every other man was just, like, flawed and full of hatred and horrible things. And I mean, Joseph just continued to show me how the justice system was even more flawed back then because, again, they're running a male-dominated world.
Yeah. What did you think about Barnabas? Is that the right name? Barabbas or Barnabas? It was one of those, the one who came looking for Dolly.
Oh.
Like the young one who worked for the court.
Yeah.
But he seemed like a really nice young kid who's in the legal system. And, like, they were so mad at him for arresting somebody. And he was like, I'm just doing my job. Like, I have to respond. I answer to these people, but I don't think he did anything wrong. No. But I still have to do it.
Correct. I thought he was fine. Again, there was just very little of him because of the big characters, not including Ephraim. Some of the big characters were just so unreliable and
yeah. So what about Dr. Benjamin Page?
Oh, the arrogant one? Mm-hmm. The one who thought he knew everything? Yeah. But then, like, almost killed the woman when she was giving birth?
Right. Multiple babies died.
Because
the women almost died.
Him. I mean, I just thought, like, how pompous and arrogant. And then when he tried to bring class into their labor pains, like, oh, women of upper class have, it's like, no, they just are just handled differently. I'm like, why would you come up with such stupid things?
Well, at Harvard, I had the privilege of witnessing multiple things. Have you ever actually delivered a baby? That's a simple question. And he's like, yeah.
No, not a fan. I just thought, here we go again with another male who thinks that he is so good at his job, and obviously he's not.
Right. It just felt so good at the end when Martha was finally like, you will not deliver another baby in this town.
Yes.
I don't care what else you do. Like, please help everybody else, but you will not step foot in a birthing room.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh.
On the flip side, then there was, I think they just called her doctor.
Yeah.
She was the African-American doctor that often women went past Martha to go see. I was like, I wish I had a little bit more of her. She seemed like she was good. And again, that's probably a different story or a different life. But I was like, at least there's somebody here besides just Martha that seems trustworthy.
Right. She was an intriguing character.
Yes.
Kind of a little bit of an enigma because we don't know a whole lot about her. But it was cool that at the end she came and got Martha to assist her. Mm-hmm. What did you think about, we kind of see where Martha got her start as a midwife. That was pretty late in the book. I was kind of surprised that we didn't get that sooner, but she was called upon by the town's most prominent midwife to help in a case because she was going blind.
Yeah.
And that's where she got her start.
Yeah. I mean, I started to really uncover at that moment of like, okay, Martha got the call, but she quickly answered it because if you start to learn more of her history about her situation, about her advocacy for women and how much she really stressed to be like, let me stand up for these women and these babies who don't have a voice and like take care of them. That kind of made more of a full circle. Like, okay, I don't hate her. She's not a horrible person. She's just she's rough. She does her job. She does it well. Like I said, it's more of an admirable book than like okay, wow, it's admirable for her to do what she did.
I'm curious as to what she did before that. I mean, I'm assuming she was just a housewife.
I mean, I'm assuming because how her kids all seemed like they were all grown.
I don't remember the time frame. I feel like it was maybe 20 years earlier because she's been a midwife for quite a while.
Right,
so
true.
She might have had young kids, because I think she had said she had delivered a couple at that point of her own. And so I think that was why the other doctor, Elsbeth, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a pretty name. That's the only reason I remembered it. I think that's why she called on her, because she had delivered her babies and realized that she was, like, decent in labor.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I thought it was beautiful. I wish there was more to that because it was that one chapter where she was kind of initiated, and then there was nothing that followed that of, like, the beginnings of her midwifery.
True.
Midwifery, I think is what they say.
So we do learn that these are real diaries.
Yeah.
Right? Did you ever think through reading this, like, why did she keep a diary?
I don't have a good guess. I mean, I think it was initially because she was learning how to read and write. And her husband kept her stocked up on notebooks and quills,
Yes.
which is beautiful. And so I think that was just a practice to, like, keep her knowledge, like, to do daily writings. But I think it's also actually really good for a medical person to keep notes. And so that's very helpful to then see, like, oh, well, we did this on this day and that didn't work. So now we're going to try something else.
Right.
I think it was cute that she was keeping the weather. Like, I don't know how that factored in or, like, why she would do that. But keeping track of the births and the deaths makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Although from the author's note, it said, like, that wasn't something required of a midwife.
No.
Mostly because they probably couldn't read or write.
Probably.
So I think it was just something that set her apart as a literate woman to do.
I saw it as power. I saw it as she had the ability, and that not many women, or hardly any women, had that ability. So she was going to try to make her mark in a place where it was, like, long lost. Like, no woman knew how to do it. So I'm going to make sure that I'm going to plant my name. Because even as you go through in her author's notes, which explain a lot of it, she kind of says in there, like, in all of the tax forms and all of that, her name is not mentioned. It's all her husband. And so this is her making her mark in this place and having documentation of her accomplishments, maybe her losses, but also, like, her life. And so I see it your way too, like, because it's like, let me just practice what I'm trying to learn. But I saw, like, this, let me make this powerful.
Well, it's funny. You say power, and that makes me think that she's, like, out for power. And I don't think that's what you're communicating. But I think that, especially as she's experiencing, like, Dr. Page, she wants to write down the things that actually work. And the things that, like,
True.
she has experienced, so that she could potentially pass this on to another young woman who is her apprentice to say, look, I have done this, this, and this, and it has worked. So I could see her putting them together to pass down to somebody else as well.
Yeah, because she had kids, and I'm sure in her mind, she wanted to, like, let me give this knowledge to my kids because they're going to be able to read this as well.
So the author talks about it in her note, in that she did take journal entries straight from her actual records.
Right.
And she did make some changes, and she shortened some of them, and they were kind of written in a code.
They were weird.
It was just letters and dashes and dots and...
Yeah, it was something.
Yeah.
She said it was, like, very boring to read her actual journal. And so, I mean, even in finding at the very beginning, whenever we realize of the frozen the body in the frozen river, she does explain later on that that was all just added in, and that actually didn't happen. It, I guess, added more to the mystery aspect of this, which then made me go, well, this is just a fiction. You know, this is not a historical. And so, yeah, it made me go, oh, come on.
Well, historical fiction doesn't have to be over a specific person who was alive. It's really just getting the time period and what had happened. So it's not very biographical.
Yeah, that's true.
So we are learning about a real person, but Ariel explains, like, it is very much a vision,
Yeah.
what could have been. So she inferred a lot from those journal entries.
Yes.
Which I think she did a great job with.
Yeah.
I think that from how boring they were, she turned it into a storyline.
Oh, yes, because when I read those entries, I was like, how did she even decipher this? And how could she what'd she say, like 900 entries? Something outrageous.
A lot.
A lot. And so I thought, that is a lot of dedication and hard work to go and find that.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about the fox.
Oh, yeah.
What did you think about, what did she call it? Tempest.
Tempest, yes. Which the word tempest, it means like
a storm.
Yeah, like storm and something like creative and like heavy. And so for me, I was like, that is like, what is the symbol? Because it's like a symbol of something. At the end, I saw the symbolism.
Right.
But at the beginning, I thought, I couldn't figure it out until the end of like why there was, the silver fox. What did you think about it?
From the very beginning of the book, I had written down significance of the fox. Like, I feel like the fox is important. It's going to come back. It's kind of woven in and out of the story. And I think Ariel had said that this was something that she completely just added in. It wasn't in the journal entries at all. But I thought it was an interesting thing. I mean, you saw that she was angry that the trappers were trying to kill it. And you saw my Google searches, and I was looking up silver foxes.
They're beautiful.
They are beautiful. It's like this shiny black. There's some shiny silver ones, but definitely not what I picture when I think of a fox.
No.
But I did like how it was guiding her.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like a spirit animal.
Sure.
And then at the end, we find out that there was a foxhole under the tree where they, it's not where they buried their daughters, but it was where they put their grave markers.
Right.
Which was beautiful.
It was. It was like a full circle of we're moving on, and this is like new life, new birth, new beginnings. And so that was beautiful.
So that fox is like a remnant of her daughters who died.
Yeah.
And like there to protect them. I loved how at the end the fox did technically save her life.
Yeah.
Or like point her in the right direction, throwing her off of the horse, which she was mad about, but that let the horse go and tell other people that something was wrong.
Right.
So that's why Ephraim came running back. I do want to talk about the ending. I mean, we haven't really talked about the plot at all. The plot is kind of all over the place and very entangled.
Yes, it is. I mean, I guess before we even get into that, like really, I started to understand Martha a little bit more when we find out her history, kind of how she was raped and how there was that hanging. Like, so you kind of find out that she saw someone hung, but you don't understand who or what. And then she mentions these other people were there as well. And so then it gave me another reason of her compassion to wanting to like push for justice in that. And so it was like, wow, she's been through a lot. At that point, I had already was like, all right, come on, let's roll through this. I only got 400 more pages to go.
But I know, I feel like you were kind of slogging through this. And would you have finished this if we weren't doing it for an episode?
Probably not, but it wouldn't have been fair for me because I said at page 200 is when I was like, all right, now I'm feeling the depth and starting to understand the story, and I'm starting to get it, but it took that building, that depth of understanding. And again, she's trying to put you in the setting and understand the people. A lot of characters, as if you've listened to a lot of our episodes with a lot of characters, when they get all like sogged in there and I'm like, who is that? Who is that? If I have to go back and forth, it does pull away from the whole like book in itself. So at page 200 is when I was like, oh, this actually has like a good... I'm no longer reading it as a mystery. I'm no longer like, okay, who's in the river? Why did they kill them? Who killed them? Etc. I'm now trying to figure out, like, what is Martha really wanting to do in a deeper level?
Did you ever figure it out, though? The mystery, like who actually killed Joshua Burgess?
I mean, yeah, we find out that it was what?
Samuel?
Samuel and Jonathan was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we find out that Sam's wife was also someone who had been a victim.
Right.
So it wasn't even like what we thought It was completely separate. And then we realized, like, wow, he's just a horrible man. He needed to die anyway. And it was the lace that gave it away, which is sick and twisted.
Did you question the lace?
Not really.
So when he pulled the money out of his pocket and there was a strip of lace, did that ring any bells?
It didn't. I think because at that point I was so bogged down with such heaviness that I was like, okay, just trying to figure out where am I in the book, because it does like jump like a lot.
Yeah,
like
back and forth.
Big chunks, not just like a week before. No, we're talking about years. And so that was hard to follow for me.
Because she found the strip of lace in Burgess's bag. Mm-hmm. So that was when she got locked in the shed.
Yeah.
And was digging around the dead man's stuff. Mm-hmm. And she found that piece of lace in the bag. So she knew that the strip of lace existed. And I don't remember if she took that. I think she took some of those belongings with her. But then when Sam was paying her for delivering their baby, he emptied out his pockets and he had a strip of lace. Mm-hmm. And instantly my head was like, why does he have a strip of lace? Mm-hmm. So then I was questioning whether he was a bad guy. Mm. But really, he had taken it off of Joshua because Burgess had taken another souvenir from his wife when he attacked her. So that triggered me to be like, wait a sec. Now, I know Samuel is involved in this somehow. Mm-hmm. So that story itself was heartbreaking.
It was heartbreaking. And then it makes you understand, well, of course he went out to seek revenge for his wife. Like, his wife had been raped and assaulted, and it's sad. And then for Jonathan to be there is like, well, I mean, again, let me stand up for my family.
Right. Well, and Samuel wanted to keep that piece of lace as a reminder that, like, he will always protect his wife.
Yes.
And I was like, oh.
The reason why he had it and them explaining it did make it more like, not just like, are you trying to, like, remind her, like, I killed the guy? Or no.
Right.
But it was, I'm going to stand up for my wife. I'm going to protect her.
I'm never going to let this happen again.
Right.
Yeah. That was heavy. I will say, from the very beginning, I thought it was very unrealistic that the guy who went in the water, which was Samuel, right? Very unrealistic that he saw a dead body.
Yeah.
I'm like, this river is 400 feet wide, and you fell in one spot, and you just happened to see this dead body floating by or stuck in the ice. Like, I thought that was very unrealistic. I meant to go back and read, like, the first chapter because it talked about the body, and I thought that it was, like, weeks or months before. And so I thought that the body was already, like, frozen in the ice, and he just happened to see it when he went under the water. But golly, this was at midnight and in a dark, rushing
There's
river.
not street lights, okay? There's no lights.
Right. How did he see a body? So I didn't understand
Then it
any
makes
of
me
that.
go, well, did he see a body, or is he just saying that because he knew it was there?
Right, but Samuel would have wanted him to be washed down the river.
True.
Like, he did not. He was angry that the body was found. So that's what I was just confused about. All of that.
Yeah, that was a little bit confusing. I could see that.
So the court cases, we see 3 different trials. I mean, we see the sham trial, and then we get to the appeals court, and then we get to the Supreme Court.
Which I'm so glad it finally went there. I was so worried that it wasn't going to go anywhere, and it was just going to get dismissed and pushed aside.
So I was grateful that the appeals guy was like, Joseph North was like, you should have recused yourself. How dare you oversee this case when you are involved? And I loved Martha's ability to testify and how much of a schmuck North was for trying to get her husband out of town when that trial was supposed to take place because she needed him there to be able to testify. But I loved her little comeback when he was like, you're allowed to testify when it's a matter of paternity. And she was like, boom, it is a matter of paternity. You assaulted this girl.
Yes.
And she's pregnant. So guess what? I can testify.
I loved when she attacked him.
Oh, my goodness. That's what I wanted to talk about at the end. That is ridiculous.
It was like, yes, they go through all these things. And he eventually, like, he says, like, he did all these things. He's like, I'm going to admit to everything I did, including what I did to your family.
Because double jeopardy. He can't be tried again.
Correct. And I was like, so finally when they were like, oh, it's all like, you're going to be acquitted from everything. And then when she nicked him, I was like, oh, nick him where it hurts, because this is where he has hurt so many women by this power.
I will say, when he made the point that he couldn't be tried again, I was like, wait a sec. He was tried for attempted rape.
Yes.
What if
actual
now he
rape
can be charged with rape?
Yes.
So I was like, wait, maybe she's going to actually get him on this, or somebody else is going to walk in and be able to testify that they heard him say that while he was committing.
True.
So I was very hopeful that that was going to be the case, but you know what? He got his just desserts as well. So.
And then what was the excuse? He had boils or something. That's why he was out for some time.
That was what the gossip decided, which is hilarious. But of course, he wasn't going to say anything.
No, absolutely not.
But Ephraim's reaction was funny too. Like, Martha, what did you do? She's like, I didn't miss.
I was like, all right, you didn't miss. That was great.
I will say the author's note says that definitely did not happen.
No. And really, like, thinking about that, my envision of Martha as a person was like a smaller person. And so to think...
She was not a small person, though. She was actually really tall.
She was tall, but I'm saying like thin, like a thin person.
Yeah.
Not to say frail, but maybe. I mean, who knows? They had to walk everywhere in the freezing cold. And so when I thought of Joseph North, I thought of like a big guy. I mean, and so to think like, could she have actually done that? I don't know.
I was trying to think about what tool or what she could have been trying to get, and I had forgotten that they had named the sword Revenge earlier in the book, and so I was like, oh, that is very fitting.
Yes.
That's very fitting.
Yeah, I liked that part a lot. It was great.
I also thought it was cool that Percy, the falcon, attacked North's dog. Or like, I'm assuming that the dog went after the bird, and the bird was like, no.
I mean, yeah.
Just everybody getting their revenge here.
Well, I think what it was about this, there was just so much rape in this book. So much. It was like, it just, being a historical fiction, so like saying that this type of stuff happened not just once or twice, often. And actually in her notes, she said that it happened so much more than what she even mentioned, and she couldn't bring herself to write that.
Right.
And I thought, that is just so unfortunate, like that women felt weak, and I guess that's a lack for a better word, like too weak to be able to stand up, because obviously the court system would do nothing about it.
No witnesses.
None.
Right. She had said that there were 3 separate rapes. Was it on the same person, or it was just...
It's the same week.
Right.
Yeah.
And she couldn't do that, so she made it 2 people going on...
I thought it was like 3 people that she mentioned.
It was 3 people and like 3 separate attacks. I don't think they were at the house together. Like
no, it was like 3 separate instances.
Right.
And
so she made it
just
the 2 of them together. But she also said it was like 1 in 3 people.
Yeah.
1 in 3 women had been assaulted.
And she was one of them.
She did make the point that Martha never in her journals mentioned being attacked or being raped. So that was something that she added into this story to kind of create that empathy for the character. But it's not unrealistic.
Not 1 in 3.
Those odds.
Correct. And really, like, thinking about that, that is just so sad. It is so unfortunate that 1 in 3 women were taken advantage of like that.
Yeah.
And then it makes you go, well, what about the men? Why are, and it's just...
Right. How long did it take for there to be any justice in those cases?
Yeah.
Like, when did the laws change to actually hold men accountable?
Right.
She talked about the fines for, like... ladies having babies out of wedlock.
I know.
And how, like, the men were never forced to pay a fine. Like, you can't get pregnant on your own.
Yeah.
It's like, ugh.
It's like, why? Oh, because they didn't have all the DNA. Like, they couldn't do all the tests like they can do nowadays.
Right.
And so how can you prove that it's my baby? And how can you prove that it was me? In that day and age, I imagine they couldn't.
Well, I think in this case, she said the baby ended up having the same birthmark as Burgess. And so, like, that proved it to her. And I was like, okay, I don't know if birthmarks are something that get passed from parent to child, but
Sure.
maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know. All right.
I feel like I haven't said a good quote yet from the book.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought it was very descriptive, and I liked the language used. They also quoted a lot of Shakespeare.
A lot.
And I thought that was interesting. And I wondered if that was actually something that was popular. I mean, I think Ephraim was quite educated. And so him actually having read a lot of the Bard was fascinating to see them just kind of throw it into conversation like we quote movies.
Yeah.
But I wrote this. This is from Martha, and she said, "Men go to logic, to the easy conclusion, and avoid the waterways of the mind. But not Ephraim. His head is all rivers and streams, and with a mind like that, a thought could run anywhere." It was
So
just
it could
beautiful,
be-
like the imagery of that, and like just being a smart man or somebody different from the crowd.
Yeah.
Lakes and rivers and
Yeah, that's a very good thing to think of. Like it could go to a small little stream or it could go into, a big river.
yeah.
I did think there was a lot of the writing in this book was really good. Like her vocabulary and all of that. It was really well written.
I mean, you
in
said
that.
wordy. That's not a good
lot
connotation.
of words. But I think really a lot of it was just heavy in the descriptions.
I thought it was sophisticated.
Yes. Yeah, it was.
So you said wordy. I would have said more of the sophisticated or not literate, but I thought it was refreshingly smart.
Yeah, it was. All right. Anything else that you feel like we have not?
I mean, I feel like we dove into this. Do you want to talk about the book cover?
Yeah. So when I first looked at this, I thought of her as lost, like a lost woman. I mean, obviously the cold fits well. It looked like she was searching for something. I get the frozen river. I'm assuming that's the river she's walking on, that she's having to walk across, but it doesn't look like that. I don't really know.
No, that's like a path in the woods because the river wouldn't have all those trees.
No.
The river is like 400 feet wide.
True. I was just thinking of being like a stream she's walking. But again, I mean, for the coldness aspect, it fits well. Yeah. What do you think?
I like it, but I think to that point, that's not the river.
Right.
That might be a tributary that runs through their yard or something, but that looks more just like a path in the woods, which she walks a lot because to get into town, it was like a mile and you have to, there was a lot of walking. I think that the isolation really fits because they're out in the middle of Nowheresville, Maine. I can't even, have you been to Maine? Me neither. I don't think so. But I would like to. I've heard it's beautiful.
Yeah. I heard wintertime is beautiful.
It seems cold.
Very cold.
A lot of snow. I follow some people who are from Maine, and so I see their posts in the winter, and it's just feet after feet of snow. So I get that, but it would have been difficult to live in that time period. This doesn't say or doesn't scream to me 1700s.
No. That coat even looks modern.
Right. And the bright red just feels like a poor family wouldn't have a bright red
I mean, I kind of almost looked at it like Little Red Riding Hood, Lost in the Woods.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's probably why my mind went straight to a lost woman, because I was thinking, okay, red coat, she's lost.
Right. So I like the cover, but I don't think I thought this was going to be more of like a 1970s, not a 1790s.
Right. I see what you're saying, because again, her hair, her clothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's cold. It definitely gets that point across.
Yeah.
All right, so do you want to give yours first? Your review?
Sure.
Okay.
I will. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this book a lot. It wasn't necessarily my favorite historical fiction. I think it did a really good job of putting us into this small town and how you have to walk across the river to get to the other side to go to specific stores. There's technically 2 cities, but they're just... I thought it was interesting getting a feel for the everyday life. And you've got the carpenter and how messed up it is that one person can try to take over the whole town and get away with what he wants. But I liked how Ephraim and Martha were working on the mystery together. And Ephraim believed her when she said something was up, and then they were both kind of doing their digging to try to keep their house because Joseph North was trying to take that away from them, which schmuck again.
Yes.
I enjoyed the language and the use of words. You had called this wordy and heavy, and I thought that it was, I said clinical, and that clinical and informative was how clear and crisp the writing was. I thought a lot of the descriptions were beautiful, and I'm not going to go as high as I did with the women. I think the women hit a little harder and evoked a lot more emotion. This was a nice book, but it didn't make me feel necessarily.
Yeah.
So I want to say, what did we say that this book actually had overall? I want to say it was like a 4.4. Is it 4.3 or 4.4 overall?
Yeah, maybe something like
The
that.
number that is like standing out in my head, though, is 4.2.
Okay.
So 4.2, this is really good. But if you need something that has a little more action, this one was maybe tedious. Like there was a lot of little things that were weaving together. And so you did have to pay pretty close attention. I read most of this, which is always helpful for me when it's a book that's jumping around in time. Because if you stop in the middle of a chapter and you don't remember and you're doing the audio and you're like, wait, is this a flashback 30 years ago? Is this 20 years ago? This is current? I told you, while I was reading this, I didn't have the book on me, so I went and found the audiobook, and I pressed play on the wrong chapter. And I had pressed play on January 10 instead of December 10, and I didn't realize it.
Oh, man.
And so
you were like way lost.
When I went back to my book and looked at my bookmark, I was like, oh no, I've got like 40 chapters to read to catch up to what I just read. So I had to go back in time, and I was very messed up. But I very much enjoyed it. I did like the audiobook, but 4.2.
All right. All right. So mine, again, I had to listen to a couple other people's reviews. I went on and kind of did a little research because, again, I say mine is an unpopular opinion only because when I say really wordy, I enjoy more derailed books. I enjoy more like mystery. And I feel like the details were super overwhelming. They were great. They were describing very well, very smart, as you know, like very studious. And so like it overwhelmed the momentum of the mystery. Right. And it was hard for me to stay engaged. So it did take me some time to like slog through it because I was like, okay, wait. So this, and then again, there were so many characters that it took me some time to really go, wait, who is this? Where do they fit? Who's like, is that her son? Nope, that's that person. Nope, that's that person. And so it took me some time to kind of figure it out. Again, once I finally started to figure it out at page 200, I was like, all right, so there is some goodness. Again, I loved that this book showed the women's work and how essential it was, right? And that it's often invisible. I think both of the historical fictions that we've read show that. And I really admire that. I really think that shows so much admiration and so much of what history we didn't understand, that women were overlooked and they just didn't get what was due for them. And so that was hard for me to be like, man, that's just so sad. But as far as like enjoyability, it wasn't as enjoyable to me. Again, it was like I was waiting for the pacing, but it was still slow. Because again, like you said, you had to read it to figure out what timeline you were in. And if you were lost in a timeline, you were really lost. And so you had to almost, figure out, wait, I'm 30 years ago, not 30 years now. And so for me, that was really hard. But overall, the woman power, the show that women do stand up for other women, even when it's unpopular, even when it's not okay, right? And that she had someone stand behind her that was educating and supporting her was really amazing. And so for me, I'm like, I hope that all rings true and that there were more women like that in the 1700s. But as far as like enjoyability, it was a 3.8, probably higher than you thought because it would, at beginning, it was like a 2 until I got to page like 200. And then I was like, okay.
Out of like 430. So you were at the halfway point.
At the halfway point is when I was like, all right, this 2-star actually could get me a little bit. And then I was like, all right, I could actually get into this. And again, like you said, I enjoyed the women so much more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good one. It had more action, more adventure, and that's
Yeah.
it. You know, but that's what war.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that when you got to the halfway point, we were still figuring out what the mystery was. And we
Correct.
were so, we'd been hit so many times by the, like, women's voices don't matter. Nothing's going to make a difference. And that's when we finally get to like, oh, but there's going to be another trial. There's going to be another opportunity. So it was like there was some hope at that point that the ladies weren't just going to be tossed to the side.
Yeah. I know. I for a while, I thought the women are just being railroaded, and literally and figuratively. And so that was like, all right, I'm tired of hearing about another woman getting, and it was kind of depressing. You know, at some points I was like, this might be history, but this sure is depressing to hear how these women are just being taken advantage of. And that's hard to read at some points. And so I think that's the enjoyability of it was just at a loss for me.
So what you're saying is that my mission now is to find us a historical fiction where it's not just women being beaten.
Well,
Okay,
I
got
actually
it.
now I'm curious is even like a man's perspective too. Like both of them we've read, you know, the women, giving no spoilers, but is from a woman's perspective. And so
Right, that's Vietnam.
yeah,
A nurse in Vietnam.
right.
Very heavy.
Yes.
Go back and listen to those
And
episodes.
very long too.
Yes.
But just different. And so, yeah, I mean, again, I probably would have DNF'd it, which would have done it no justice because, again, it took me until the middle of the book to where I was like, all right, let me see what's still going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you going on this historical adventure with us.
Yes, absolutely. Anytime. I throw you in my spaces that are a bit jarring for you. So
Dark and twisty.
well, until then, keep reading.
Keep ranting.
And remember, you're so approachable. Okay, the episode is over. If you enjoyed it, could you give us a thumbs up or leave a review?
It goes a long way toward helping us grow and meet new people like you.
Subscribe to get notified when the next episode drops.
You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook to see what we're reading next, recommend new books, and join the conversation.
We're so excited to have you on board.